What if I told you there's a temple so magnificent, so enormous, that it can actually be seen from space?
Emily's about to convince us that ancient Cambodian architects were secretly planning for satellite photography in the 12th century.
Maybe they were. But seriously, Angkor Wat is the largest religious monument in the entire world. Bigger than Vatican City.
Welcome back to the English podcast for listening and speaking, everyone. I'm Brian, and this is Emily.
And today we're taking you on an incredible journey to Cambodia to explore one of humanity's greatest masterpieces.
Angkor Wat isn't just a temple. It's a stone encyclopedia of art, religion, and architectural genius.
This place was built nearly 900 years ago, and it still leaves visitors absolutely speechless today.
Emily's describing Angkor Wat like it's a time machine disguised as a religious monument.
Because it kind of is. When you walk through those ancient corridors, you're literally stepping into the 12th century.
And here's something fascinating. Angkor Wat was originally built as a Hindu temple, but it was later converted into a Buddhist site.
So it's been sacred to multiple religions for centuries. That's the kind of spiritual power that transcends belief systems.
Emily's treating Angkor Wat like it's a universal spiritual magnet that attracts devotion from everyone.
Well, maybe it is. The temple is visited by millions of people every year from every corner of the globe.
And speaking of visitors, we're going to teach you some amazing grammar today that will help you describe monuments and architecture.
Yes, we're focusing on passive voice, which is perfect for talking about how things are built, created, and admired.
So instead of saying people built Angkor Wat, you can say Angkor Wat was built in the 12th century.
It shifts the focus from the builders to the incredible temple itself, which is exactly what we want.
Emily's presenting passive voice like it's a grammatical spotlight that highlights the most important part of the sentence.
That's exactly what it is. And you'll hear us using passive voice naturally throughout our conversation today.
But before we dive deeper, let's pause for our first community question of the episode.
Yes! Have you ever visited a temple, monument, or historic site that completely took your breath away?
Maybe it was a cathedral, a castle, ancient ruins, or even a modern architectural wonder.
Tell us in the comments, where did you go and what made it so special?
Emily wants to collect everyone's most awe-inspiring architectural experiences for her personal travel bucket list.
Guilty as charged. I love hearing about places that move people emotionally and spiritually.
Emily's treating architectural tourism like it's a form of international therapy and cultural healing.
Because it kind of is. There's something about standing in front of human creativity that connects us across time and cultures.
And Angkor Wat is definitely one of those places where the past speaks directly to the present.
The temple is decorated with thousands of intricate carvings that tell stories from Hindu and Buddhist mythology.
These aren't just decorations. They're like ancient comic books carved in stone, telling epic adventures and spiritual lessons.
Brian's describing religious art like it's ancient entertainment media for medieval Cambodians.
Well, storytelling through art was exactly how people shared culture and beliefs before books and movies existed.
And the craftsmanship is absolutely mind-blowing. Every single carving was done by hand with simple tools.
Emily's marveling at 12th century construction techniques, like she's comparing them to modern power tools and machinery.
Because I am. These artisans created something that modern technology still struggles to match in beauty and precision.
And here's something incredible. The temple's design represents the Hindu cosmos, with the central tower symbolizing Mount Meru.
Mount Meru is considered the center of the universe in Hindu cosmology, so Angkor Wat is literally a map of heaven.
The architects were creating both a place of worship and a three-dimensional representation of their spiritual universe.
That's why walking through Angkor Wat feels so powerful. You're not just touring a building, you're experiencing a world view.
Emily's describing temple architecture like it's immersive virtual reality, designed by ancient spiritual engineers.
And the sunrise at Angkor Wat, oh my goodness. It's considered one of the most beautiful sights on Earth.
Emily's getting emotional about dawn lighting effects on 900-year-old stone towers.
Because it's magical. The temple is perfectly positioned so the rising sun creates this golden silhouette against the sky.
Photographers and tourists wake up at 4 a.m. just to witness this daily spectacle of light and shadow.
And before we continue our journey through Angkor Wat's incredible history, let's ask our listeners to join our community.
If you're enjoying this cultural and linguistic adventure, please hit that like button and share this episode with friends.
Maybe you know someone who loves history, architecture, or travel. This episode is perfect for them.
And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss our explorations of fascinating topics and practical English learning.
Plus, commenting helps us create content that matches your interests and learning goals perfectly.
Emily's turning audience engagement into a collaborative educational experience with cultural discovery bonuses.
Because that's exactly what learning should be, a shared journey of curiosity and discovery.
So get comfortable, grab some tea or coffee, and let's explore one of humanity's greatest achievements together.
Next, we're diving into the fascinating origins of Angkor Wat and the incredible Khmer Empire that created it.
Emily's about to transport us back 900 years to meet ancient kings and witness architectural miracles in progress.
And trust me, the story of how and why this temple was built is just as amazing as the temple itself. Okay, so picture this. It's the early 12th century, around 1113 AD, and King Surya Varman VII decides to build the most incredible temple the world has ever seen.
Emily's describing ancient royal construction projects like they were casual weekend home improvement decisions.
Well, maybe for a king who controlled the mighty Khmer Empire, this wasn't just any kingdom. It was the most powerful civilization in Southeast Asia.
The Khmer Empire was enormous. It covered what we now call Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, and parts of Thailand.
And Surya Varman VII was determined to create something that would honor the Hindu god Vishnu and demonstrate his empire's incredible power.
So Angkor Wat was originally built as a Hindu temple dedicated to Vishnu. That's why the architecture follows Hindu cosmic symbolism.
The temple was constructed over nearly 30 years, using an estimated 300,000 workers and 6,000 elephants.
Emily's casually mentioning an ancient construction workforce that rivals modern mega projects with added elephant labor.
But think about the logistics. This was built without modern machinery, trucks, or cranes. Just human ingenuity and animal power.
Emily's marveling at 12th century project management, like she's comparing it to contemporary construction schedules and efficiency standards.
Because it's incredible. The temple was completed around 1150 AD. That's faster than many modern skyscrapers get built today.
And the materials were transported from quarries over 50 kilometers away. Massive sandstone blocks floated down rivers and canals.
The word Angkor comes from the Sanskrit word Nagara, which means city, and Wat is Khmer for temple.
So Angkor Wat literally translates to Temple City, which perfectly describes this massive religious complex.
The entire site covers over 400 acres. That's bigger than some entire towns and ancient city centers.
Emily's describing temple dimensions like she's trying to convince us that ancient architects were secretly planning modern urban developments.
Maybe they were thinking big. The central sanctuary rises 213 feet into the sky, taller than most modern buildings.
And here's something fascinating. The temple was designed to represent Mount Meru, the sacred mountain at the center of the Hindu universe.
So the 5 central towers symbolize the 5 peaks of Mount Meru, with the tallest tower representing the cosmic axis.
The architecture was carefully planned using sacred geometry. Every measurement had religious and astronomical significance.
It's like the entire temple is a 3-dimensional prayer, with every stone placed according to spiritual principles.
Emily's describing ancient construction planning like it combined engineering precision with mystical meditation techniques.
That's exactly what it was. The temple was oriented to face west, which is unusual for Hindu temples, but perfect for honoring Vishnu.
And the construction techniques were incredibly advanced. They used a method called corbelling to create the tower structures.
Corbelling means stones were gradually layered and extended inward until they met at the top. No mortar needed.
The stones were fitted together so precisely that you can't even slide a knife blade between them after 900 years.
The craftsmanship was supervised by master builders who understood both engineering principles and religious symbolism perfectly.
Emily's describing 12th century architects like they were Renaissance masters with engineering degrees and spiritual wisdom.
They kind of were. The Khmer Empire was at its cultural and technological peak during Angkor Wat's construction.
But here's where the story gets even more interesting. The temple was later converted from Hindu to Buddhist use.
By the late 13th century, Buddhism had become more popular in the region, so Angkor Wat was transformed into a Buddhist monastery.
Buddhist monks began living at the site, and many Hindu statues were replaced with Buddhist images and symbols.
So the temple was adapted and repurposed while maintaining its architectural integrity and spiritual significance.
Emily's describing religious conversion like it was an ancient renovation project with cultural sensitivity requirements.
That's actually a pretty accurate way to think about it. The basic structure remained unchanged, but the religious focus shifted.
And Buddhist pilgrims began visiting Angkor Wat as a sacred site for meditation and religious devotion.
Today, Buddhist monks still live and worship at Angkor Wat. It remains an active religious site after nearly 900 years.
The transition from Hindu to Buddhist use shows how adaptable great architecture can be across different belief systems.
It proves that truly magnificent buildings transcend specific religions and speak to universal human spiritual needs.
Emily's presenting Angkor Wat as evidence that exceptional architecture functions as interfaith spiritual diplomacy.
Maybe it does. There's something about standing in front of such beauty that connects people regardless of their background.
And the temple's influence spread far beyond Cambodia. Angkor Wat appears on the Cambodian flag as a national symbol.
It represents not just religious devotion, but also Cambodian cultural pride and historical identity.
The Khmer Empire eventually declined, but Angkor Wat survived as a testament to their incredible architectural achievements.
Even when the empire collapsed and the capital moved, local communities continued protecting and maintaining the temple.
Emily's describing community preservation efforts, like ancient neighborhood watch programs for monumental religious architecture.
That's not far from the truth. Local people recognized Angkor Wat's importance long before international scholars arrived.
French explorers rediscovered Angkor Wat for the Western world in the 1860s, but it was never actually lost.
Local Cambodians always knew about it, visited it, and kept it from being completely overgrown by jungle vegetation.
And speaking of discovery, let's ask our listeners about their own preferences for learning about the past.
Yes! Do you prefer learning about ancient history like Angkor Wat, or do you find modern inventions and technology more fascinating?
Maybe you love both. Ancient wisdom combined with contemporary innovation and scientific advancement.
Tell us in the comments whether you're more excited by 12th century architectural genius or 21st century technological breakthroughs.
Emily wants to survey our audience's intellectual time travel preferences and historical curiosity patterns.
Because both ancient and modern achievements teach us about human creativity, problem solving, and the desire to create lasting beauty.
Emily's connecting historical appreciation with contemporary innovation, like they're equally valid forms of human inspiration.
They absolutely are, and Angkor Wat proves that great achievements from any era continue inspiring people centuries later.
Now let's explore what makes Angkor Wat so spiritually powerful. This isn't just beautiful architecture. It's a sacred space that has been worshipped for centuries.
Right. The temple is considered one of the most important pilgrimage sites in Southeast Asia, drawing devoted visitors from around the world.
A pilgrimage is a spiritual journey to a sacred place, and Angkor Wat is definitely treated as a destination for religious reflection.
Originally, the temple was built to honor Vishnu, one of the most important gods in Hinduism, known as the preserver of the universe.
Emily's introducing Hindu theology like she's providing a crash course in cosmic divine responsibility assignments.
Well, it helps to understand the religious background. Vishnu is believed to protect and maintain the balance of creation.
And Angkor Wat was designed as Vishnu's earthly home, The entire complex represents his divine palace in stone.
The temple's layout follows Hindu cosmology perfectly. It's oriented toward the west, which is associated with Vishnu in Hindu tradition.
Most Hindu temples face east toward the rising sun, but Angkor Wat faces west toward the setting sun, which makes it unique.
This Western orientation is believed to represent the journey toward spiritual enlightenment and divine understanding.
Emily's describing architectural direction like it's a spiritual GPS system for finding religious enlightenment.
That's actually a pretty good analogy. The temple's design guides visitors on a symbolic journey toward the sacred center.
When pilgrims enter the temple, they're supposed to walk along the causeway that represents the rainbow bridge to heaven.
The causeway is flanked by nagas, sacred serpents that are believed to protect the temple and its visitors.
Nagas are mythical snake creatures in Hindu and Buddhist traditions, often depicted as guardians of sacred spaces and treasure.
So even before you enter the main temple, you're surrounded by protective spiritual symbols and religious imagery.
Emily's describing temple entrance design like it's an ancient spiritual security system with mythological bodyguards.
I love that. But seriously, every element was carefully planned to create a sense of approaching something holy.
Inside the temple, the walls are covered with bas-reliefs. That's the word for stone carvings that project slightly from the surface.
These bas-reliefs tell stories from Hindu epics like the Ramayana and Mahabharata, epic tales of gods, heroes, and moral lessons.
The carvings were created to educate visitors about Hindu mythology and religious principles through visual storytelling.
It's like walking through a massive stone library where every wall is a page from sacred literature.
Emily's comparing ancient religious art to educational entertainment systems for medieval temple visitors.
That's exactly what they were. Most people couldn't read, so these visual stories were their books and movies combined.
One of the most famous bas-reliefs shows the churning of the ocean of milk, a Hindu creation myth.
In this story, gods and demons work together to churn the cosmic ocean and create the elixir of immortality.
The carving is over 160 feet long and shows dozens of figures pulling on a giant serpent to churn the ocean.
Visitors are meant to contemplate this story as a metaphor for the struggle between good and evil in the universe.
Emily's describing mythological stone carvings like they're ancient philosophical textbooks with visual aid illustrations.
They kind of are. Hindu art always contains multiple layers of meaning: literal, symbolic, and spiritual.
But here's where the story gets really interesting. The temple's religious significance transformed over time.
By the late 13th century, Buddhism had become more popular in Cambodia, so Angkor Wat was converted into a Buddhist monastery.
Buddhist monks began living at the temple, and it was adapted for Buddhist worship and meditation practices.
Many Hindu statues were replaced with Buddhist images, but the architectural structure remained unchanged.
Emily's describing religious conversion like it was an ancient rebranding campaign with architectural sensitivity requirements.
That's not a bad way to think about it. The temple kept its beauty, but gained new spiritual meaning.
Today, Angkor Wat is still considered a sacred Buddhist site. Monks are regularly seen praying and meditating there.
The temple is visited by Buddhist pilgrims who come to seek blessings, practice meditation, and connect with spiritual tradition.
These modern monks continue traditions that are hundreds of years old. It's a living connection to the past.
And visitors often describe feeling a profound sense of peace and spiritual energy at the temple, regardless of their religion.
Emily's suggesting that Angkor Wat functions as a universal spiritual battery that charges everyone's inner peace levels.
Maybe it does. There's something about ancient sacred spaces that seems to affect people deeply.
The word sanctuary perfectly describes Angkor Wat. It means a sacred place that offers protection and spiritual refuge.
People from all religious backgrounds are welcomed at the temple and treated with respect by the monks and local community.
The current monks practice devotion. That means dedicated religious practice and spiritual commitment every single day.
You can see them at sunrise and sunset, offering prayers and maintaining centuries-old Buddhist traditions.
Emily's describing monastic schedules like they're spiritual customer service representatives working ancient temple shifts.
That's actually sweet. They are serving their community by maintaining this sacred space for everyone to experience.
And the temple continues to be blessed and consecrated through regular Buddhist ceremonies and religious festivals.
During important Buddhist holidays, thousands of pilgrims gather at Angkor Wat to celebrate and pray together.
These gatherings show how the temple remains an active spiritual center, not just a historical monument or tourist attraction.
It's both a window into the past and a living religious community that continues evolving spiritually.
Speaking of spiritual experiences, let's ask our listeners about their own relationship with sacred spaces and meditation.
Would you ever consider joining a meditation retreat at a place like Angkor Wat, surrounded by ancient wisdom and natural beauty?
Maybe you prefer modern meditation centers. Or perhaps you find spiritual peace in nature rather than temples.
Or maybe you're curious about meditation but haven't tried it yet. Angkor Wat might be the perfect, inspiring location.
Emily's recruiting potential meditation retreat participants through ancient Cambodian temple marketing strategies.
Share your thoughts in the comments. Do sacred spaces inspire you, or do you find spirituality in other ways?
Emily wants to create a support group for spiritual tourism and international meditation retreat planning.
Because spiritual experiences, like great architecture, connect people across cultures and time periods beautifully. Now let's talk about what makes Angkor Wat an absolute masterpiece, the incredible art and architecture that leaves every visitor completely speechless.
Emily's about to describe stone carvings like they're the ancient world's version of Instagram posts and social media content.
Well, maybe they were. These bas-reliefs were definitely created to impress visitors and tell amazing visual stories.
A bas-relief is a type of sculpture where figures are carved to project slightly from a flat background surface.
And Angkor Wat is covered with these incredible bas-reliefs, over 3,000 square meters of detailed stone carving.
The walls were decorated with scenes from Hindu mythology, daily life, and historical battles by master craftsmen.
Every single carving was created by hand, using simple chisels and hammers. No power tools, no modern technology.
Emily's marveling at ancient artistic techniques like she's comparing hand-carved sculptures to modern 3D printing and digital art.
Because it's amazing. These artisans achieved a level of detail and beauty that's still difficult to match today.
The carvings were created by skilled sculptors who understood both artistic composition and religious symbolism perfectly.
You can see individual facial expressions, flowing clothing, intricate jewelry. Every figure has its own personality and character.
The central tower is admired for its height and perfect symmetry. It rises 213 feet above the temple complex.
This tower represents Mount Meru, the cosmic mountain at the center of the Hindu universe.
Emily's describing architectural symbolism like ancient builders were creating spiritual skyscrapers with mythological elevator access.
That's not far from the truth. The entire temple was designed as a pathway from earth to heaven.
The 5 towers were arranged to represent the 5 peaks of Mount Meru, with connecting galleries forming the sacred mountain's slopes.
As you climb higher through the temple levels, you're symbolically ascending toward divine enlightenment and spiritual understanding.
The architecture was designed using precise mathematical proportions that create visual harmony and balance.
Every measurement was calculated according to sacred geometry. The temple is both beautiful and mathematically perfect.
Emily's describing ancient construction planning like it combined engineering precision with spiritual meditation and geometric therapy.
That's exactly what it was. The architects understood that mathematical beauty reflects cosmic order and divine perfection.
The famous Gallery of Bas-Reliefs is considered one of the greatest artistic achievements in Southeast Asian art history.
This gallery stretches for over 700 meters around the first level, telling epic stories through continuous stone narratives.
The most famous section shows the Battle of Kurukshetra from the Hindu epic Mahabharata. Hundreds of warriors carved in dramatic action.
You can see elephants charging, soldiers fighting, arrows flying. It's like watching an ancient action movie in stone.
Emily's describing mythological battle scenes like they're ancient special effects created by prehistoric Hollywood production teams.
Maybe ancient artists were the original special effects masters. Their work still amazes audiences 900 years later.
Another incredible section depicts the churning of the ocean of milk. 92 demons and 88 gods pulling on a giant serpent.
This carving is so detailed you can see individual scales on the serpent and facial expressions on each divine being.
The sculpture was created to be viewed while walking, so the story unfolds gradually as you move along the gallery.
It's like reading an ancient comic book where each panel advances the mythological plot and character development.
Emily's comparing sacred religious art to entertainment media for temple visitors seeking spiritual and visual stimulation.
Why not? Great art has always been both educational and entertaining. That's what makes it memorable and meaningful.
The technical skill required for these carvings is absolutely extraordinary. Each figure shows perfect anatomical understanding.
The artists understood human and animal anatomy so well that their sculptures look alive and ready to move.
Many carvings show contrapposto. That's when figures are posed with weight on one leg to create natural, realistic movement.
This technique wasn't just decorative. It showed that Khmer artists understood advanced artistic principles and realistic representation.
Emily's describing 12th century artistic education like ancient sculptors attended prehistoric art schools, with anatomy classes and figure drawing.
Maybe they learned through apprenticeships and centuries of cultural knowledge passed down through generations of master craftsmen.
The temple also features incredible devatas, heavenly female figures that decorate the walls and towers.
These devatas were carved as celestial dancers and guardians, each with unique hairstyles, jewelry, and graceful poses.
There are over 1,800 devata carvings throughout the temple. No two are exactly identical.
It's like having 1,800 individual portraits of divine beings, each with their own personality and spiritual presence.
Emily's describing stone sculptures like their ancient selfie collections, featuring celestial models and heavenly Instagram influencers.
You know what, Brian? That's actually a brilliant comparison. These carvings were definitely meant to be admired and remembered.
And people do remember them. Visitors often spend hours studying the details and taking photographs of the favorite figures.
The temple's architectural masterpiece status comes from combining massive scale with incredibly intricate artistic detail.
It's both monumental and intimate, overwhelming from a distance, but personally engaging when you examine individual carvings.
That's what separates good architecture from great architecture. It works on multiple levels of human experience.
Speaking of personal experience, let's ask our listeners about their own artistic preferences and creative inspiration.
What kind of art impresses you most? Paintings, sculptures like Angkor Wat's carvings, or architectural achievements?
Maybe you prefer modern art, classical masterpieces, or traditional crafts from your own cultural background.
Or perhaps you're inspired by street art, digital creations, or performance art. Creativity comes in so many forms.
Emily's conducting an international art preference survey to map global creative taste patterns and aesthetic appreciation trends.
Share your thoughts in the comments. We love learning about what moves and inspires our diverse international community of listeners.
Emily's building a database of artistic preferences to optimize future cultural education content for maximum creative inspiration impact.
Because understanding art, whether ancient or modern, helps us appreciate human creativity and cultural expression across all time periods.
So, what's happening at Angkor Wat today? Well, the temple is recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, one of the most important cultural treasures on Earth.
UNESCO stands for United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. They protect the world's most significant historical and cultural sites.
Angkor Wat was designated as a World Heritage Site in 1992, which means it's officially protected by international law and conservation efforts.
The site is visited by over 2 million tourists every year. People come from literally every corner of the globe to experience this wonder.
Emily's describing international tourism statistics, like Angkor Wat has become the world's most popular spiritual destination and cultural pilgrimage site.
It kind of has. The temple attracts everyone from backpackers to royalty, all seeking that magical sunrise experience.
The famous sunrise viewing spot is crowded every single morning with photographers and travelers hoping to capture that perfect golden moment.
People wake up at 4:30 a.m. and walk through the darkness just to watch the sunrise behind those ancient towers.
The temple is managed by the Cambodian government in partnership with international conservation organizations and archaeological experts.
Massive restoration projects are being undertaken to preserve the stone carvings and prevent further deterioration from weather and age.
Emily's describing conservation efforts like their ancient building maintenance programs, with international funding and scientific supervision.
That's exactly what they are. The temple is nearly 900 years old. It needs serious professional care and attention.
The stones are being cleaned and stabilized using modern conservation techniques that respect the original construction methods.
Efforts are being made to balance tourism access with long-term preservation. It's a delicate balancing act.
Too many visitors can damage the fragile carvings. But tourism revenue helps fund the conservation projects that protect the temple.
So tourism is both a challenge and a solution. Visitors help save what they come to see.
Emily's describing cultural tourism economics like they're complex environmental sustainability puzzles with archaeological protection requirements.
Because they are. Managing heritage sites requires balancing public access with scientific preservation and community needs.
Local Cambodian communities are employed as guides, security guards, and in restoration work. The temple supports the regional economy.
Many families have worked at Angkor Wat for generations, passing down knowledge about the temple's history and significance.
The temple grounds are maintained by teams of gardeners who keep the pathways clear and the surrounding landscape beautiful.
They're fighting a constant battle against jungle vegetation that wants to reclaim the ancient stones.
Emily's describing landscape maintenance like it's an ongoing war between human preservation efforts and aggressive tropical plant armies.
Nature is incredibly powerful in Cambodia. Without constant care, the jungle would swallow the entire temple within decades.
Modern technology is being used to document and study the temple. 3D scanning creates detailed digital records of every carving.
These digital archives ensure that even if something happens to the original stones, the artwork will be preserved forever.
Archaeologists are still making new discoveries at Angkor Wat. Hidden chambers and previously unknown carvings are found regularly.
The temple continues revealing secrets after 900 years. There's still so much we don't know about its construction and purpose.
Emily's describing ongoing archaeological research, like Angkor Wat, is an ancient puzzle box that keeps producing new mysteries and discoveries.
That's a perfect description. Every archaeological season brings new insights about Khmer culture and building techniques.
The temple is also being studied by climate scientists who monitor how weather patterns affect the ancient stones.
Temperature changes, humidity, and seasonal flooding all impact the temple's structural integrity and artistic preservation.
Special drainage systems have been installed to protect the foundations from monsoon rains and water damage.
Engineering solutions are being combined with traditional knowledge to create sustainable conservation strategies.
Emily's describing heritage preservation like it's ancient architecture meeting modern environmental science with cultural sensitivity requirements.
That's exactly what successful conservation requires. Respecting the past while using contemporary knowledge and technology.
The temple is featured in countless documentaries, books, and films. It's become a symbol of human cultural achievement.
Movies like Tomb Raider were filmed at Angkor Wat, introducing the temple to millions of people worldwide.
This media attention brings more visitors, which creates both opportunities and challenges for site management and preservation.
But overall, increased awareness helps generate international support for conservation funding and protection efforts.
Emily's describing Hollywood film locations as accidental cultural education programs with tourism marketing side effects.
Whatever works. The more people know about Angkor Wat, the more support there is for protecting it.
Educational programs are being developed to teach visitors about Cambodian history and the importance of cultural preservation.
Schools from around the world organize trips to Angkor Wat as part of history and cultural studies curricula.
The temple serves as a classroom where students can literally touch 900-year-old history and experience ancient civilization firsthand.
It's one thing to read about medieval architecture in textbooks. It's completely different to stand inside it.
Emily's promoting experiential education through international heritage site field trips and ancient architecture immersion programs.
Because that's how learning becomes meaningful and memorable, through direct personal experience and emotional connection.
And speaking of personal experience, let's ask our community about their travel dreams and cultural curiosity.
Would you like to see Angkor Wat in person someday? What draws you to visit historical and cultural sites?
Maybe you're more interested in natural wonders, modern cities, or adventure tourism rather than ancient architecture.
Or perhaps you prefer learning about other cultures through food, music, and contemporary art instead of historical monuments.
Emily's surveying international travel preferences to optimize future cultural destination recommendations and educational content planning.
Tell us in the comments what kind of travel experiences inspire you most. We love hearing about your adventures and dreams.
Whether you're drawn to ancient wonders or modern marvels, travel broadens perspectives and creates lasting memories.
And Angkor Wat proves that some human achievements transcend time and continue inspiring people across centuries and cultures.
All right, everyone, it's time for our grammar workshop. Today we're focusing on passive voice, which is perfect for describing monuments, art, and architecture.
Yes. And I have to confess, passive voice used to confuse me so much, I never knew when to use it properly.
Emily's about to demonstrate her former passive voice struggles through live educational mistakes and real-time grammar corrections.
Exactly. So let me try some examples about Angkor Wat, and Brian can help me get them right.
Great plan! Emily, try describing how Angkor Wat was constructed using passive voice instead of active voice.
Okay, so instead of saying King Surya Varman built Angkor Wat, I should say, Angkor Wat built by King Surya Varman?
Emily's creating passive voice like she's removing random words from sentences and hoping the grammar magically fixes itself.
That sounds terrible. What did I miss?
You forgot the helping verb. It should be Angkor Wat was built by King Surya Varman in the early 12th century.
Oh, so I need was plus the past participle built. The helping verb is essential for passive voice.
Exactly. The pattern is subject plus was or were plus past participle. Let's try another example about the carvings.
Okay, active voice would be skilled artisans created the bas-reliefs. So passive voice is the bas-reliefs were created by skilled artisans?
Perfect. You included were as the helping verb and created as the past participle. That's exactly right.
I'm getting it. Passive voice shifts the focus from who did the action to what received the action.
Emily's describing passive voice like it's a grammatical spotlight that highlights the most important part of the sentence for clarity.
That's actually a great way to think about it. When we talk about monuments, we usually care more about the building than the builders.
Exactly! Now let's practice with our listeners. Everyone, repeat after me. The temple was built in the 12th century.
Come on, everyone, say it out loud. The temple was built in the 12th century.
Notice how that sounds more natural than people built the temple in the 12th century when discussing historical architecture?
Let's try another one. Repeat after us. The carvings were created by master sculptors.
The carvings were created by master sculptors. Perfect! The focus is on the amazing artwork, not the individual artists.
Okay, I want to try a tricky one. How do I say millions of people visit Angkor Wat every year in passive voice?
Emily's attempting advanced passive voice transformation, like she's solving grammatical puzzle games with tourism statistics.
This is harder. Would it be Angkor Wat is visited by millions of people every year?
Absolutely perfect! You used is visited because it's a present tense situation that happens regularly.
So passive voice works with different tenses, past, present, and future, just like active voice does.
Right. Was built is past tense. Is visited is present tense. And will be restored would be future tense.
Let me try present tense. People admire Angkor Wat worldwide becomes Angkor Wat is admired worldwide.
Excellent. You're getting the hang of this. The focus shifts from the admirers to the temple itself.
This is so useful for travel and cultural discussions. Let's give our listeners a practice challenge.
Great idea! Everyone, try converting this active sentence to passive. UNESCO protects Angkor Wat as a World Heritage Site.
Take a moment to think about it. What would that sentence sound like in passive voice?
The answer is Angkor Wat is protected by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site. Did you get it right?
And here's why passive voice works so well. It emphasizes that Angkor Wat has protection, which is the most important information.
Emily's explaining grammatical emphasis like passive voice functions as a linguistic highlighter for the most relevant sentence information.
That's exactly what it does. It's a tool for making your English sound more sophisticated and focused.
Passive voice is especially common in academic writing, news reports, and formal descriptions of art and architecture.
You'll hear it constantly in museums, documentaries, and travel guides because it sounds professional and informative.
Let's try one more challenging example. The jungle almost swallowed the temple in passive voice would be.
Ooh, that's tricky. Would it be the temple was almost swallowed by the jungle?
Perfect. You maintained the dramatic meaning while shifting focus to the temple's endangered situation.
Passive voice makes the temple sound like the main character in an adventure story fighting against nature.
Emily's describing grammatical structures, like their narrative techniques for creating dramatic tension in historical descriptions.
Language is storytelling, and passive voice helps us tell stories from different perspectives and with different emphasis.
Now here's your homework challenge, everyone. Write one passive voice sentence about a building or place you know well.
It could be your school, your home, a local landmark, or even your favorite restaurant. Anything with interesting history or features.
Share your passive voice sentences in the comments, and we'll give you feedback and encouragement.
Ryan wants to create a community grammar practice group with international architecture descriptions and cultural sharing opportunities.
Emily's describing language learning like it's collaborative cultural exchange through grammatical creativity and personal storytelling.
Because that's exactly what it should be. Learning grammar becomes meaningful when you use it to share your own experiences.
Remember, subject plus was or were or is or are plus past participle. That's your passive voice formula for describing monuments, art, and achievements.
And don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's how we learn. Even I was confused about passive voice until I started practicing regularly.
Emily's encouraging grammatical experimentation, like language learning, requires courageous mistake-making and persistent practice with supportive feedback.
Because that's the truth. Grammar confidence comes from using new structures in real conversations, not from memorizing rules perfectly. Well, everyone, what an incredible journey we've taken together today, from ancient Khmer kings to modern conservation efforts.
We've explored nearly 900 years of history, religion, art, and architecture, all centered around one absolutely magnificent temple.
And I have to say, learning about Angkor Wat has made me want to book a trip to Cambodia immediately.
Emily's ready to become an international temple tourism ambassador based on one podcast episode about ancient Khmer architecture.
Why not? Sometimes learning about amazing places inspires you to experience them firsthand and create your own memories.
That's actually the best possible outcome from educational content. When information sparks curiosity and leads to real-world exploration.
Think about everything we've covered today. King Surya Varman VII's incredible vision, the transition from Hindu to Buddhist worship, those magnificent bas-reliefs.
Not to mention the ongoing conservation challenges, the millions of annual visitors, and the temple's status as a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
Angkor Wat truly represents the best of human achievement. Artistic excellence, spiritual devotion, and architectural genius combined.
Emily's summarizing ancient civilization like it was a perfectly executed group project with outstanding creative collaboration and project management skills.
That's actually not a bad comparison. Building Angkor Wat required incredible teamwork, planning, and shared vision across decades.
And the fact that it's still standing after 900 years proves that quality craftsmanship and thoughtful design never go out of style.
What strikes me most is how the temple continues evolving, from Hindu sacred site to Buddhist monastery to international cultural treasure.
That adaptability shows how truly great architecture transcends its original purpose and speaks to universal human values across cultures.
Exactly! Whether you're Hindu, Buddhist, or have no religious affiliation at all, Angkor Wat inspires awe and wonder.
Emily's describing architectural appreciation like it functions as interfaith diplomacy through shared aesthetic experiences and cultural understanding.
Maybe it does. Beautiful spaces bring people together regardless of their backgrounds or beliefs.
And speaking of bringing people together, let's talk about what we learned from your comments throughout this episode.
We asked about your travel dreams, spiritual experiences, artistic preferences, and historical interests, and you shared such thoughtful responses.
Many of you mentioned wanting to visit Angkor Wat after learning about its significance, which shows how education can inspire adventure.
Others shared stories about local temples, monuments, and cultural sites in your own countries. We love that cultural exchange.
Emily's celebrating international cultural sharing like our podcast accidentally created a Global Heritage Site Appreciation Society.
That would be wonderful. The more people appreciate cultural heritage, the more support there is for preservation and protection.
And your grammar practice with passive voice was fantastic. You're really improving your English through these educational discussions.
Remember, language learning happens when you use new structures to talk about topics that genuinely interest you.
Many of you wrote beautiful passive voice sentences about buildings and places from your own experiences and cultural backgrounds.
Keep practicing. Grammar becomes natural when you use it to express your own thoughts and share your personal stories.
Emily's encouraging linguistic development through personal narrative sharing and grammatical experimentation with cultural content.
Because that's exactly how language skills improve, through meaningful practice and authentic communication.
Now, before we wrap up, let's preview what's coming next week on Wonders of Our World.
Next episode, we're exploring another UNESCO World Heritage Site, and this time, we're traveling to South America.
We'll be discussing Machu Picchu, the mysterious lost city of the Incas, hidden high in the Peruvian Andes Mountains.
Ancient engineering, breathtaking mountain scenery, and archaeological mysteries that scientists are still trying to solve.
Emily's already planning her next international heritage tourism adventure before we've finished discussing the current one.
Well, learning about incredible places makes you want to keep exploring and discovering new wonders around the world.
And our grammar focus next week will be comparative and superlative adjectives, perfect for describing higher, older, and most mysterious.
So make sure to subscribe, follow us on social media, and share the podcast with friends who love culture, history, and language learning.
Your reviews and comments help other people discover educational content that makes learning English fun and engaging.
And don't forget to visit our website for additional resources, photographs, and extended information about today's topics.
We've included links to virtual tours, documentary recommendations, and travel planning resources for Cambodia.
Plus grammar practice exercises and vocabulary lists to help you continue learning beyond just listening to episodes.
Emily's creating comprehensive educational support materials. Like she's developing an international cultural studies curriculum with language learning integration.
Because that's what good education should provide. Multiple ways to engage with fascinating topics while developing practical skills.
Emily's designing learning experiences like education should be both intellectually stimulating and personally meaningful for diverse global audiences.
Exactly. Learning should inspire curiosity, build confidence, and connect us with the amazing world we all share together.
Thank you for joining us today on this journey to Angkor Wat. Until next week, keep wondering, keep learning, and keep exploring.
This is Emily and Brian saying goodbye from Wonders of Our World. See you next time for more amazing discoveries.
Emily's signing off like we're international travel guides sending postcards from educational adventure destinations around the globe.
Because in a way we are. Goodbye, everyone, and happy learning.